You know, I just found this out, and I have to, well, not so much apologize, but to basically thank Matt, MB1R, MB, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. So, the other day, or last week, I was going crazy with creditors because I was canceling a lot of my credit cards. I didn't need them. If you don't need them, I don't need them, all right? For instance, I had Cabela, and then I had Bass. Well, Bass bought Cabela out, so why do I need Cabela? All right, so that was one of the reasons why I canceled Cabela. They ended up owing me money, but anyway, I canceled them. Then the one that I put on the internet on the video with that bank that sold out to a finance agency called Genesis or something, and they sent me a letter saying that they're canceling me because I didn't use the card. And I also found out that they started to attach, once the Genesis took it over, they were starting to charge a $50 annual fee. Well, I don't pay annual fees either, and that's all there is to it. So you heard the conversation I had with them, and they sent me a letter back, what I wanted, telling me everything that I wanted, and gave me everything that I actually needed. All right, Genesis and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, make a long story short, that was it. Now, years ago when I used to work for the FDIC, and I was involved with a lot of monies and financings and things, a bank would not lend you money on a house unless you filled a certain criteria, meaning your debt to income ratio. If you're paying out more than, we'll say, 30% of your pay in bills, the bank is not going to give you a mortgage, basically, because you're paying out more than 30% in bills. And they had a ratio that they went by. You know, it's going to cost you so much to live, and so much for this, and so much for that. And, you know, you need so much play money, and if you're paying this kind of money out, you can't afford another $1,000 a month mortgage payment. So they had that ratio going. Now, what they used to do is, if you had a credit card or a credit in a store or something like that, you had credit someplace, Home Depot, Lowe's, big box stores, and they gave you, we'll say, a $10,000 credit line, and you only owed $100, or you owed nothing, let's say zero. Well, when the bank looked at this is how it used to be. When the bank looked at this, they would say, oh, wait a minute. He is right on the borderline. So right now, the way it sits, we can give him the mortgage. However, if he goes to Home Depot and charges $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 worth of material, that means now he's going to have another payment. And that payment would bring him above what we would have normally accepted. So because of that, even though he doesn't owe on it, he has the ability of owing it. So therefore, we are going to count that amount. So basically, if you had 10 credit cards with $10,000 limit on each one, that's $100,000 worth of credit that you can go out and have a party with, you know, and never be able to pay it back. And the bank is going to say, well, we're not going to give him a mortgage when he's borderline, because if he goes out and charges on that, he's not going to be able to fit the mortgage anymore. You kind of, am I explaining that to you right? I don't know if I'm getting through to you. Like, so a couple months back when I was doing some of this, Matt had put a comment in there saying how it can hurt your credit by canceling the cards. And me, Mr. Know-It-All, said no, it's just the opposite, because it used to be. However, I found out on Thursday or Friday that it doesn't work that way anymore. Right now, the way that the government's working with all their lending, see, I'm not on the inside anymore like I used to be, but this isn't an inside trade anyway. It's not a secret to anybody, but the government right now wants people to spend money. They want you to charge. They want to go gun-ho. They don't care if they put you bankrupt or not, because this is what they're looking. They're looking to get money going in the system. So by canceling your credit cards, it will hurt your credit. Even though you're canceling them because you don't need them. When I was talking with a friend of mine in New Jersey, they had said they changed it. I said, when the hell did they change that? He goes, well, in the Obama administration, they wanted to start making credit more available to all people because they wanted to start getting more monies circulated, if you can afford it or not. See? And that's what they were looking to do, and so they made those changes, because a lot of people like myself, and if I don't need it, why do I keep it? You follow me? It's just another thing. And it used to be the way that I just said prior. You know, they changed it. So Matt, you were right. As well as probably all the other ones out there that have been dealing with this lately. Because I haven't really been doing a lot lately. You know, I have everything I need. I have my cards. I have my home. You know, so I don't pay attention to these things. So, you know, and I didn't realize it until just the other day. Because I was talking to a bank. And I was talking to a friend of mine in New Jersey. Which is actually at the bank. And he says, no, he says, things have changed, you know. Now, the friend of mine in New Jersey at the bank used to work for me. He was under me at the FDIC. And he was offered a job on one of the banks that took over another bank. And actually, it was started out in White Plains, New York, but he ended up back in New Jersey. But anyway, to make a long story short, Matt was right, you know. And a lot of you probably already know this. And if I was dealing in the system like I used to, I would have known it. You know, and what I mean by the way I used to, meaning, you know, just having a pocket full of credit cards. You know, I don't do that, you know. So it can't hurt you. Now, luckily, it hasn't affected me, you know. But at that point, when I was talking with the mortgage company on this house that we're talking about buying, you know, they said to me, no, that can hurt you, she says, you know. If you don't mind me asking, why'd you cancel them? I said, well, one of them, I says, they're bought out by another company, and I had the other company's credit card, so there's no sense having two credit cards for the same company. And the other one started charging an annual fee, and I don't pay annual fees. Well, those are good reasons, you know, she says, but pay attention, she says, because, you know, if your reasoning isn't good, it could bother you. It could hurt you later. She says, what it'll do is it'll bring your credit down. And then the next time they do a report, it'll bring it back up again. So if it brings me down, you know, while they're doing a check on something, that could hurt me. You know, where if they check again, you know, 4 or 5 months later, they're going to see everything's okay. You know, so apparently for that quarter, it kind of brings you in a downward momentum, and then you come back again, and you usually come back with a little bit more. Now, I don't know how true it is, because it may be just hearsay. Again, a friend of mine that works at a bank, not just because he works at a bank doesn't mean he knows everything. He had said another thing that can bring your credit up is that if you have a couple of credit cards and somebody sends you a pre-approval for another credit card, and you can pay off your other credit cards with it, don't cancel them though, but just pay them off to take the new credit card, like with 0 interest for 15 months, that type of thing. Pay off the other credit cards. Don't cancel them, but just pay them off. And then pay off, you know, over 15 months, the original one that you borrowed on, He says, and by doing that, that also brings your credit back up higher. So, geez, it's all a game right now, and that's what it is. It's a game to get the monies circulating. Let's give credit easy. Let's give easy credit. So basically right now it's kind of like the time to buy if you want to buy, because they're trying to make things easy for everybody, because they're trying to circulate the dollar. And they don't care what happens to you later, because later they'll figure out a way to work around that. You follow me? So, but anyway, Matt, I just wanted you to know you were right. I was wrong.